I loved him so much it hurt to breathe sometimes. Ethan was everything I'd ever dreamed of. Kind, funny, with this quiet strength that made me feel safe, like nothing in the world could touch me when I was with him. But my sister Claire, she took that from me. She shattered us because she couldn't have the one person she'd always wanted. So I did something I'm not proud of. I made her watch as the man she loved fell for me instead. And now I don't know if I'm the hero or the villain in my own story. Let me take you back to where it all started. I'm Lily, by the way, 26 years old, living in a small apartment in Portland, working as a graphic designer for a startup that barely pays the bills. I'm not glamorous or perfect. I'm just me. Messy bun, coffee stains on my hoodie, always chasing deadlines. But I was happy, because I had Ethan. We'd been together for 2 years, and every moment with him felt like a gift. The way he'd leave sticky notes on my fridge with silly doodles, or how he'd hold my hand under the table at dinner, like he couldn't stand not touching me. He was my home. Claire, my older sister, was the opposite. She's 30, stunning, with this sharp magnetic energy that pulls people in. She's a photographer, always traveling, always chasing the next big shot. Growing up, I idolized her. She was the cool one, the one who could walk into a room and make everyone stop and stare. But she was also restless, like she was always searching for something she couldn't find. I never understood what it was until I saw her look at Mark. Mark was Ethan's older brother. They were close, the kind of brothers who'd finish each other's sentences and laugh at inside jokes from their childhood. Mark was different from Ethan. Where Ethan was soft and steady, Mark was wild, unpredictable, like a storm you couldn't look away from. He was a musician, always on the road, playing gigs in dive bars and small venues. Claire met him through me, at a barbecue Ethan and I hosted at our place one summer. I remember the moment they locked eyes. It was like the air shifted. Claire's laugh got louder, her eyes brighter. Mark leaned in, teasing her about her camera, and she fired back with that quick wit of hers. I thought it was harmless, just Claire being Claire. But it wasn't. She fell for him, hard. I didn't realize how deep it went until months later, when she started showing up at our place more often, asking about Mark, fishing for details. Is he coming over? Is he seeing anyone? She'd laugh it off, but I could see it in her eyes, this hunger, this need. Mark liked her too, I could tell. He'd linger when she was around, his smile softer, his jokes sharper, like he was trying to impress her. But Mark, he wasn't the settling down type. He told her that, straight up, one night at a bar. I was there, sitting across from them, watching it unfold. He said, "Claire, you're amazing, but I'm not built for forever. I'm not that guy." Her face didn't change, but I saw her hands tremble under the table. She laughed, tossed her hair, said something flirty to brush it off. But I knew my sister. That rejection cut her deeper than she'd ever admit. After that, things changed. Claire started acting different. She'd make little comments about Ethan and me, things that sounded innocent, but felt like needles. "You guys are so perfect together," she'd say, but her voice had this edge, like she was mocking us. Or she'd point out how Ethan worked late sometimes, how he wasn't as exciting as other guys. I brushed it off at first. She was hurting, I told myself. She'd get over Mark, find someone else. But then I started noticing other things. She'd text Ethan late at night, asking for advice about her photography or some random thing, even though she knew he was with me. She'd show up at our apartment unannounced, wearing these tight dresses that screamed for attention. Ethan was polite, always, but I could see it made him uncomfortable. He'd laugh it off, say, "Your sister's just intense." But I knew better. Claire wasn't just being intense. She was trying to take something from me because she couldn't have what she wanted. It came to a head one night last winter. Ethan and I were planning a trip to the coast, just the two of us, a weekend to reconnect after a stressful few months. Claire showed up at our place, uninvited, with a bottle of wine and a sob story about some fight with her roommate. She was crying, mascara streaking down her face, and Ethan, being Ethan, couldn't just turn her away. He invited her in, told her to sit down, offered to make her tea. I was annoyed, but I didn't say anything. She was my sister, and she was hurting. I thought I was being the bigger person, but then, as we sat there, her crying turned into something else. She started talking about Mark, how she couldn't stop thinking about him, how she knew he felt something for her too. "He's just scared," she said, her voice raw. "He's running from what we could have." Ethan tried to be kind, told her she deserved someone who could give her everything. But Claire, she didn't want to hear it. She leaned closer to him, her hand on his arm, her voice dropping low. "You're so good at this, Ethan. You always know what to say. I wish I had someone like you." I froze. It wasn't just what she said, it was how she said it, how her eyes lingered on him, how her touch didn't pull away. Ethan shifted uncomfortably, glanced at me, but Claire kept going. "Lily's so lucky. I mean, look at you two. So perfect." That word again. Perfect. But it wasn't a compliment. It was poison. I asked her to leave. My voice was calm, but inside I was shaking. She looked at me like I'd slapped her, then grabbed her bag and stormed out. Ethan tried to smooth things over, said she was just upset, that she didn't mean anything by it. But I couldn't shake the feeling that something was wrong. Really wrong. A week later, I found out just how wrong. I was at work, scrolling through my phone during a break, when I saw it. A text from Claire to Ethan. He'd left his phone at my desk that morning, and it buzzed with her name. I didn't mean to snoop, I swear, but something told me to look. The message was short, but it gutted me. "I can't stop thinking about you. I know it's wrong, but I feel something when I'm with you. Don't you feel it too?" My heart stopped. I scrolled up, my hands trembling, and saw more. Messages she'd sent him late at night. Flirty, suggestive, things no sister should ever say to her sibling's boyfriend. Ethan hadn't responded to most of them, just polite deflections, but he hadn't told me either. He'd kept it from me. I confronted him that night. I was crying, yelling, my voice breaking, as I asked him why he didn't tell me. He looked like I'd punched him, his face pale, his eyes wide. "I didn't want to hurt you," he said. "I thought I could handle it, make it go away without making things weird between you and Claire." "Handle it? How do you handle your girlfriend's sister throwing herself at you?" I was furious, not just at Claire, but at him, for keeping it secret, for thinking he could fix it without me. We fought for hours, words cutting deeper than I thought possible. I told him I needed space. He left, his shoulders slumped, and I sat there alone in our apartment, feeling like my world was crumbling. Claire called me the next day, acting like nothing had happened. "Hey, you okay? You seemed off last night." I couldn't believe her. I told her I saw the texts. There was a long pause, and then she laughed and said, "Oh, come on, Lily. It was nothing. I was just drunk, messing around. You're not seriously mad, are you?" I hung up. My hands were shaking so bad I could barely hold the phone. That's when I knew. This wasn't just about Mark. Claire was jealous. She couldn't have the love she wanted, so she was trying to take mine. She wanted to prove she could have Ethan, that she could win, because losing Mark had broken something in her. I tried to fix things with Ethan. I loved him more than anything, and I didn't want to lose him. We met for coffee a few days later, and he looked exhausted, like he hadn't slept. He apologized, said he should have told me about the texts, that he thought he was protecting me. I wanted to believe him, but every time I looked at him, I saw Claire's hand on his arm, her voice whispering in my head. We tried to keep going, but it wasn't the same. There was this distance between us now, this crack that kept getting wider. A month later, we broke up. He said he couldn't stand feeling like he'd let me down. I said I couldn't trust him anymore. We both cried, holding each other one last time, and then he was gone. I was wrecked. I stopped eating, stopped sleeping. My work suffered. My friends stopped calling because I was too raw, too angry. And Claire? She acted like nothing had happened. She'd post on Instagram, all smiles, her life perfect as ever. It made me sick. I'd lie awake at night replaying everything, and this ugly, burning feeling started growing inside me. I didn't just want to move on. I wanted her to feel what I felt. I wanted her to hurt. That's when I thought of Mark. I hadn't seen him in months, not since the breakup. He'd been on tour, playing gigs across the country, but he was back in Portland for a few weeks. I ran into him at a coffee shop by chance, his guitar case slung over his shoulder, his hair messy like he'd just rolled out of bed. He smiled when he saw me, asked how I was. I lied, said I was fine, and we got to talking. He asked about Ethan, and I told him we'd broken up. His face softened, and he said, "I'm sorry, Lily. That sucks." There was this warmth in his voice, this genuine care, and for a moment, I saw what Claire saw in him. He was magnetic, not just because of his looks or his talent, but because he made you feel seen. I didn't plan it, not at first, but as we talked, I started to notice the way he looked at me, the way his eyes lingered a little longer than they used to. He asked if I wanted to grab a drink sometime, catch up. I said yes, and something in me clicked. This wasn't just about catching up. This was about Claire. I started spending more time with Mark. We'd go to his gigs, grab late-night tacos, talk for hours about everything. Music, art, the messiness of life. He was so different from Ethan, so unguarded, so alive. I liked him, more than I expected to. He made me laugh, made me feel like I could breathe again. But every time I was with him, I thought of Claire. I'd post pictures of us on Instagram, subtle but deliberate. Mark's arm around me at a concert, our coffee cups side by side. I knew she'd see them. I wanted her to. She did. She called me one night, her voice sharp. "What are you doing with Mark?" she asked. No preamble, no warmth. I played dumb, said we were just friends, hanging out. "Don't lie to me, Lily," she snapped. "I see the way he looks at you. You're doing this on purpose." I didn't deny it. I just said, "Maybe you should have thought about that before you went after Ethan." There was a long silence, and then she hung up. I felt this rush, this twisted sense of victory. For the first time in months, I felt like I had the upper hand. Mark and I kept seeing each other. It wasn't just about Claire anymore. I was falling for him, and I could tell he was falling for me too. He'd write little songs about me, play them for me in his tiny apartment, his voice soft and raw. He'd hold my hand, kiss my forehead, tell me I was different, special. I wanted to believe him, but there was always this voice in the back of my mind, whispering that this started as revenge. Was it real? Or was I just using him to hurt Claire? Claire didn't let it go. She started showing up at Mark's gigs, her camera in hand, pretending she was there to shoot the band. But I saw the way she watched us, her eyes burning. One night, she cornered me in the bathroom of a bar, her face inches from mine. "You think you're winning?" she hissed. "You think you can just take him from me?" I laughed, bitter and cold. "You took Ethan from me, Claire. You don't get to play the victim." She stared at me, her eyes glassy with tears, and for a moment I saw my sister, not the glamorous, untouchable Claire, but the girl who used to braid my hair and tell me stories when we were kids. But then she turned and walked away, and that girl was gone. Mark and I got closer. He told me he loved me one night after a gig, his hands cupped around my face, his eyes so earnest it hurt. I said it back, and I meant it. But there was this weight in my chest, this guilt I couldn't shake. I'd gotten what I wanted, Mark, Claire's pain, but it didn't feel like I thought it would. It felt hollow. Then Claire did something I didn't expect. She showed up at my apartment one night, no makeup, no armor, just her in a hoodie, looking small and broken. She sat on my couch, her hands twisted in her lap, and she told me everything. How she'd been in love with Mark for years, how his rejection had made her feel worthless, like she wasn't enough. How she'd seen me and Ethan, so happy, so stable, and it made her hate herself even more. "I didn't mean to hurt you," she said, her voice barely above a whisper. I wanted to feel something else, anything else." She apologized, tears streaming down her face, and for the first time, I saw her not as my rival, but as my sister. Hurting, flawed, human. I didn't forgive her, not right away, but I listened. And when she left, I sat there for hours, thinking about everything. Ethan, Mark, Claire, myself. I realized something that night. I'd been so focused on hurting Claire, on proving I could win, that I'd lost sight of who I was. I wasn't this person, this vengeful, petty version of myself. I was Lily, the girl who loved Ethan, who loved Mark, who loved her sister, even when it hurt. I broke things off with Mark the next day, not because I didn't love him, but because I couldn't trust my own heart. I told him the truth, about Claire, about why I'd gotten close to him in the first place. He was quiet for a long time, then nodded, his jaw tight. "I get it," he said, "but I wish you'd told me sooner." He walked away, and I knew I'd probably lost him for good. I reached out to Ethan too, not to get back together, but to apologize, for not trusting him, for letting my anger at Claire tear us apart. He listened, and when I was done, he hugged me, his arms warm and familiar. "I'm sorry too," he said. "We're friends now, not what we were, but it's something. A start. Claire and I are still working on things. It's not easy. There's a lot of hurt, a lot of history, but we're talking, really talking for the first time in years. She's trying to move on from Mark, to find herself outside of what she thought she needed. I'm trying to forgive her. To forgive myself. I don't know if I'll ever fully heal from this. Love, betrayal, revenge, they leave scars, you know. But if there's one thing I've learned, it's that holding on to anger, trying to make someone else hurt because you're hurting, it doesn't fix anything. It just breaks you more. I don't want to be that person anymore. I want to be someone who loves, who trusts, who builds instead of burns. And maybe, just maybe, I'm starting to figure out how.